Oh, I know I can't do this justification, what I've got to tell you now. So once again, I appeal to the muse of storytelling. Uh, huh. Well, when in the morning, they'd slept the whole night. And Lance woke up a little bit at one point, and he had this feeling that that he realized that Elaine was sleeping there because he could smell that her hair and her warmth and all that. Uh, it was wonderful. But then he went back to sleep. When he woke up then in the morning, Elaine was already standing up. She was there, and she was actually trying to wake him up a little bit because it was time to go. They were supposed to be at the Keg and Oyster by about 8, and that seemed like it was going to work because Lance was going to finally head home. And she said to him, "Arise, Sir Knight. You have Sir Lancelot. You have passed the test of courtly love." Uh, uh, and Lance had no idea what she was talking about, but and she didn't explain. But anyway, he had passed, and she went on. Now it's time for you to head back to your queen, back to Morgan. And she went up to the house to say that they were ready, and Lance. His overalls had dried during the night, and he put them on and went up there, and so they headed off. And Tira sure didn't want to miss this. To have a special breakfast like this with Vivien, because Vivien had a reputation for being a real character when she got going, and Tira had a feeling that was going to happen. She actually thought of the Keg and Oyster as Vivien's place. That's what most people refer to it as, Vivien's place. So they headed back, driving slowly, Lance going along on his bicycle, feeling so refreshed and feeling wonderful to be knowing that he's finally heading in the right direction. He's heading home. So when they got there and went in, Lance was just radiant, with his rested and with his long blonde hair, and he was so happy. And so they went in, and here Vivien already had a table set for the four of them, and then herself set for five. And they didn't really need to order because Vivien had directed the waitress to bring the whole spread. I mean, there was every kind of thing they could want for breakfast. I guess maybe you might call it an English breakfast. I don't know. I mean, there were scrambled eggs, there was toast, there was a plate of cheese, there was sausage, there was scrapple, bacon, just about anything you could eat, hash browns, and they dove right in and they ate. And when they had basically finished, Lance said, I think it was Lance that said, yeah, it was Lance. What in the world have we done to have such an honor? What a great breakfast this was. And at that point, Vivien, she got up and she said, "I was just hoping you'd ask that. I've dressed for this occasion." And she was wearing the same bright red yoga pants as she had the day before. But she stood up, and maybe I told you that already, and she said, "How do I look?" And, everyone said, "Oh, really nice." And Lance, I think, made the mistake of saying "my lady" again, but he corrected himself real quickly. He said, I mean my wench." And Vivien said, I'm tired. I can only do so much of this medieval stuff with the lady stuff. I'm feeling more Chaucerian, don't you think? Don't I look more Chaucerian, Renaissance almost? And some of them knew sort of what she meant, but Lance didn't have a clue. And that's when she was showing off her bright red pants, and she said, maybe a little bit broad in the. I look pretty good, don't I? maybe a little bit broad in the hips. And she turned around to give everybody a good look, and everybody sort of agreed, but they didn't say that. They didn't want to say that. And what was it? She said, it was probably Lance. I mean, he was talkative now. He was going to have to be, because he was going to have to tell a big story. He said, "You look really, really great, my wench," being pleased that he remembered the wench. And at that point, Vivien said, "Not my, just wench. I'm nobody's wench. My fifth husband made that mistake, and you don't want to have happen to you what happened to him. So I'm just wench Vivien. Got it?" And he said, "Okay." So she said, "Now you wanted to know why I went to all this bother? Well," and she broke into song. She's standing there and kind of danced. "The minute you walked in the joint bar room," that bar room came from out of nowhere. It was Elaine, and Vivien stopped and said, "Where did that come from?" And Elaine said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. It just sounded so much like a song I heard one time." And Vivien said, "Well, it is." And Elaine said, "From Sweet Charity, the movie? My dad used to like that movie. I heard that one time." And she says, "Yeah." Well, anyway, she started up again. "The minute you walked in the joint bar room, I knew at once you were a man with a story, a real good story." This is Elaine, because Elaine couldn't help it. She knew the song. "Hey, good-looking man with a story, spend a little time talking to me." I just can't represent this like it was. It was something else. The whole place, the joint, Vivien's place, they were all listening to this now, because she was really putting on a performance. She was dancing around, and she says, "So let me get right to the point, bar room. I don't pop my course. I don't pop my cork for every man I see. 2, 3, 4. Hey, good-looking man with a story. 9 men got nice bibbies and real nice shirt sleeves. Spend a little time talking to me." Well, it brought the house down. Everyone just loved that. And so the show had gone on, and now Lance was on. He was gonna have to tell quite a story, and he was starting to. But then, it was fun. Everyone was laughing. But Elaine then said, "There's one thing I don't understand about that song. What's she mean, pop my cork for every man I see? Pop my cork. What's she talking about?" Well, there was kind of a silence, and the women all sort of looked at each other, and finally Violet said, "We'll talk about that later."